To say that Resident Evil 7 is a departure from the traditions upheld by previous titles is simultaneously an understatement and an overstatement. It draws an enormous amount from modern monster media, some obvious examples being found footage horror films and Rob Zombie-esque slashers. Most of all, however, I think it was influenced by other video games, in particular PT. I think it borrows a lot from the Silent Hill that never was. Most notable and obvious though has gotta be the first-person camera. I could see how this drastic of a change might turn off some longtime fans, but I think it's the best thing they could have possibly done for the series. You already have the remakes banking in on nostalgia and kinda cornering the market on third-person survival zombie-killing inventory Tetris. RE7 starts off the way all great horror does, in the daytime, in a car. Think about it, The Shining, Jeepers Creepers, Disney's The Haunted Mansion. Ooh, that last one really freaks me out. Did you know there are spiders in that movie? The main character in our first-person window to the world, Ethan, is on a trip to Louisiana to save his girlfriend, Mia, who's gone missing. Inside an ominous email, she tells Ethan to stay away, and that she's sorry she lied to him about something. Obviously we're here, in the swamp again, so I guess we're saving your girlfriend, dude. This unsettling southern setting is the perfect place for this tale of terror to unfold. It fits the aesthetic of the story, it provides a legitimate excuse for the isolation main characters always seem to experience in horror, and most of all, it just feels freaky. Your exploration of these areas is pretty linear for the most part. You go where the game wants when it wants you to, but that opens up a lot as time goes on. You gain access to freakier, and shall we say, more inhabited areas of the house. I still got lost quite a bit, and spent a lot of time backtracking to get items I didn't know I would need to solve remarkably obscure puzzles. This is nothing new for the series, but I felt like almost every puzzle eventually devolved into me just looking up the polygon walkthrough. It's not that the levels aren't designed well, in fact I feel the exact opposite. The map often loops back on itself and fills out in a very satisfying way, and not all puzzles are terribly puzzling. Sometimes they just require watching the correct VHS tape. One very memorable moment of mystery came when I couldn't figure out how to get into the attic of the guest house. In the first 20 minutes you find a room with an obviously operable television. You find the tape, no big deal, right? Just gonna watch a little cutscene. Wrong! It makes you play as a cameraman who is very recently in the same space your character Ethan is exploring. In the tape, the crew find a secret lever in a fireplace, which happens to be right behind where you left your boy standing, watching this cursed video. Then a small secret passageway opens up and the morons crawl through it instead of leaving like a sane person. Inside, you're forced to climb down a ladder to find your missing buddy, and bad stuff happens. Keep in mind this all took place through a tiny door we are now all too aware has been right next to us this entire time. There aren't too many jump scares too often, and it's actually that agonizing anticipation that caused me the most stomach pain. Once anything actually happened, it was never as frightening as the build-up and what my imagination had conjured, but most of the time nothing does happen. I get how that doesn't sound scary, but it made every jump scare they did throw in feel much more impactful. They never completely lost their novelty. Save rooms sprinkled throughout provide a very welcome refuge for the many terrors of the Baker house. That music that plays in them is top tier. I seriously spent way too much time just hiding in that camper trying to work up the courage to get back out there and explore. Just a few more minutes. I'll be good. Inventory management wasn't too big of a problem in this title like it has been for me in other Resident Evils in the past. There are tons of safe rooms with tons of inventory boxes, and I was eventually able to find lots of precious ammunition through accidentally never using the drug that helps you find items for the first third of the game. And need ammunition you will. While like I said, most of the time nothing happens, sometimes it does, and you usually have to deal with it the American way. This is another instance where first person is everything. The limited field of view behind, above, below you, and to the sides doesn't just add perspective, it adds immersion. It forces you to look around constantly, not just from over Leon Kennedy's beautifully rendered shoulder. We see through Ethan's eyes. We don't turn the character to make him look at a perceived threat, we look at it ourselves. I was never scared for the character I was playing as to get killed, I was scared of me, the player, being attacked. Immersion in any game is important, but in horror it's absolutely imperative. It should be obvious at this point, I recommend RE7, it's really good. Go buy it, play it, thank me later, but do yourself an enormous favor. Please, for the love of God, only play in the dark. Preferably at night, but rainy days are cool too. Use headphones if you can, or at the very least keep the volume up to a reasonable level, and most importantly, be alone.
Welcome to the family, son.
Get comfortable. It just became legal in New Jersey to get really comfortable if you catch my drift, but most importantly, get immersed. Sitting there with your arms folded, making fun of everything that happens is a one-way ticket to you not enjoying anything town, and that's exclusively your fault. Gunplay feels great, but I don't love games where 9 headshots in a row is the only way to kill an enemy. Puzzles are satisfying to complete, but a bit confusing. Like I said before, I used guides at a certain point. What kept me going through this punishing journey was the story. I wanted to know what happened next. I wanted to see what had caused all this, and now, having completed the game, I feel very happy with how it all went. I'm glad Capcom is keeping an eye on the rest of the gaming world. They've clearly shown they're interested in learning from other companies' successes and failures. They've shown they're willing to adapt and change, but they haven't forgotten what got them here in the first place. I can't wait to play Resident Evil 8 and see what the future of the franchise looks like.